Hello everybody. At this time we are talking about price elasticity. Price elasticity refers to how the quantity demanded or supplied of a good changes when its price changes. In other words, it measures how much people react to a change in the price of an item. Price elasticity of demand refers to how changes to price affect the quantity demanded of a good. Conversely, price elasticity of supply refers to how changes in price affect the quantity supplied of a good. And then factors affecting price elasticity. Several elements influence whether the demand for a product is elastic or inelastic. The first factor, availability of alternatives. Products with many alternatives usually have more elastic demand because customers can easily switch if prices go up. The second factor, time period. As time passes, consumers may discover alternatives or change their habits, making demand more elastic in the long run. Third, necessity versus luxury. Essential items generally have inelastic demand since people will buy them no matter the price changes, while luxury goods often show more elastic demand. And then fourth, share of income. Items that consume a large part of a consumer's income usually have more elastic demand, as significant price hikes can prompt consumers to rethink their purchases. And then what happens when a product is price elastic? A product is considered elastic of a small change in price results in a large change in quantity demanded. This sensitivity to price changes is often seen in markets with many substitute products. For instance, if the price of a particular coffee brand rises, customers may switch to an alternative without much hesitation, keeping demand highly flexible. Elasticity example products with many readily available substitutes, such as various snacks or bottled water brands, are generally more elastic because customers can easily switch if prices change. And then how to calculate price elasticity. To calculate price elasticity, we divide the change in demand or supply for a product, service, resource, or commodity by its change in price. These figures tells us which bucket our product falls into. The first, a value of 1 means that our product is unit elastic and price changes reflect an equal change in supply or demand. Second, a value of greater than 1 means that our product is elastic and price changes will cause a greater than proportional change in supply or demand. And third, a value of less than 1 means that our product is inelastic and price changes will result in a smaller change in the supply or demand for our product. And then we move to the importance of understanding elasticity for businesses and policy makers. The first about pricing strategy. Elasticity helps businesses determine the optimal pricing of their products and services. As an example, businesses that face elastic demand might avoid high price increases since elasticity implies that consumers would likely significantly reduce their consumption. Conversely, for goods with inelastic demand, businesses might be able to increase prices without losing much demand, potentially increasing total revenue. And then the second, economic planning. Elasticity projections can help policymakers with fiscal and monetary policy. For example, understanding how fuel price changes affect the consumer's behavior and transportation costs can help in formulating policies that can promote economic stability and growth. And then third, resource allocation. Understanding which products have elastic or inelastic demand can help management properly allocate resources to product development. For example, companies might invest more in marketing and improving products that are inelastic in order to generate more stable sales. And then fourth, regulatory decisions. Regulators need to understand how price regulations might impact the market and consumers. Elasticity can be used to predict whether regulatory decisions will lead to changes in consumption. And then fifth, market entry. Elasticity analysis can help companies decide whether to enter new markets by evaluating the demand elasticity of potential customers in different regions or socio-economic segments. And then what makes a product inelastic? A product is deemed inelastic when changes in price have little to no effect on its supply or demand. In other words, even if prices rise or fall, consumers will continue to buy or sell approximately the same amount of that product. There are some factors that contribute to a product's inelasticity. The first factors about lack of substitutes. Products with fewer or no substitutes tend to have inelastic demand. For instance, gasoline is essential for many people's daily commute. And if prices rise, most consumers have no choice but to continue purchasing it. And the second, addictive products, goods that are habit forming, such as cigarettes or iPhones, often have inelastic demand. Even if prices increases, loyal customers will likely continue buying them due to their dependency on the product. And then third, necessity goods. Items considered necessities typically exhibit inelastic demand. For example, basic food items or essential medications are products that people need regardless of price changes. And then fourth, small portion of income. If a product represents a small portion of a consumer's income, demand may remain stable despite price changes. For example, A minor salt price increase will likely not stop consumers from purchasing it. I think it is enough. Thanks for watching.